Well, hey there, and welcome to Homer Hangout Live. Hope you're doing well. We are back from a short break last week. We had a workation here at Homer, so the whole company went away. So we had no stream last week. And interestingly enough, we had no stream yesterday, even though you probably got an email from me by mistake. So apologies for that. But we are here today, of course, and super pumped today because we're going to have a new series kicking off today with our resident in-house ideation expert, George. So I'm going to welcome him on in just a sec. But before I do, don't forget to go and visit the community tab of our YouTube channel. We've got a brand new poll up there. Go and have your say. Let us know your thoughts on that. What is up, Chris? What is up, Mr. Cortex? What is up, Tom? What is up, James? What is up, Colette? What is up, Julie? What is everybody in the chat? Great to see you here. Super pumped. I'm not going to delay it anymore. Come and join the Discord if you haven't done so already. And welcome if you're new here. Hello, I'm Kevin. And I am going to be joined this week by George. George, what is up? How you doing?
Kevin, very good. And about you?
Yeah, I am very well. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so super pumped for this. I think what we should do, as it's the first one kicking off, friends of the channel will know you anyway. But for those who haven't seen you before, can you just do as a quick intro? Let us know who you are and what you do here at Homer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm George, resident, as Kevin said, ideation expert at Homa. I mostly work on new concept ideas for the publishing team. I focus on hyper and hybrid. So I think that from now on you'll be seeing me quite often here. I don't know what's the regularity, but I would assume like once a month or something like that.
Yeah, sure. So we'll have you on as long as no
Yeah.
one throws any tomatoes at us today. We'll be back this time every month, so it's going to be good. We're gonna run some experiments throughout and see what people are liking. So if you're here on the live chat, as I can see many of you are, do let us know your thoughts today, what you'd like to see. We are here to serve you. That is our job. So we will be running through what we've put together today, some framework for ideation, and we're going to try and maybe spin some ideas. So this is meant for a very interactive stream, as always. So have your say in the chat, and
Yeah.
let's do some brainstorming. So George, I think what we should do, let's just dive straight in because I know you've prepared something for us today. Can you let us know exactly what we're looking at here?
Yeah, absolutely. So here I prepare a framework that I personally use, and here in the publishing team we also use it, and it's designed to very quickly find ideas and switch elements of the games themselves that you might have spotted on the top charts or in any other place, and to be able to reproduce ideas at a large scale. So basically, you have a table where you really deconstruct the game, and from there you really have some key points that you need to focus when you're ideating or brainstorming, and they're all described here, and I think we're really going one by one on them, and we're doing a live example also, which I think going to be cool, interacting with all of you, asking for your personal ideas also, so we can create together here a pivot of an existing game or a brand new game. We'll see what comes out of this. We never know.
Perfect. So I'm just normally the chat will be up on the right hand side. This thing is
I'm,
legendarily flaky right now, so I'm just gonna send a comment in. But we can see your comments if you are put them in the live chat there. We can see them even though they're not appearing on the screen. So do get them in once we start asking for it. So the framework looks really cool here. I think it's really important to have this formula or blueprint sort of or framework in place because it really helps you keep track of stuff as well, I'm guessing. So how do we start this off, George?
so definitely we start by an example of a game that we seen that we liked.
Okay,
So
so
that
you and I go on.
yeah, I was gonna say that's number one. And yeah, as you're gonna say now, you and I we spotted one that we really liked,
Yeah,
and
just
I'll let you introduce it.
all right, so let's do that. So we're going to flick around here today. Hopefully this will work out just well. So yeah, just just before we were geeking out and nerding out before, we were talking about the new Supersonic game. So it was there we go, still on my iPad from before. Perfect. So this is the one we were looking at, which is kind of a really interesting idea. Do you want to explain for people who haven't seen this game? This is
So,
pretty new.
yeah, I'll do it. Camel Sniper is a recent game from Supersonic. It was released. I think it's on the top charts on Play Store, but iOS, not sure where it really stands. But it's pretty much a hidden object game where you use a sniper to find people that are camouflaged in the city, and you need to shoot the amount of people that the game requests. And that's really the core gameplay. There's really nothing to it rather than that. And then you have some progression options that uh, allow you to use collectibles from the game to then upgrade something that you'll see after. But that's pretty much the game. And I think if we depart from this idea, there's a lot of things that we can turn around and create our own game that's inspired by this.
All right, nice. So, oh, there we go. The chat. Well, the chat's going to be flaky, but it's in. Frantic Thumbs has just come in, and before we get right into this, so we're going to use this one as an example today. I'm guessing, and we'll start filling some stuff in and start thinking about exactly how this framework can work in our favour and how it can reinforce some ideas and get some creativity. But Frantic Thumbs is asking, how do you translate a good game idea into a CPI video? I feel I feel sometimes we as developers may miss the mark with the video. Um, well, I'll have my say just real quick, and I'll let George have his go at this. I think for the most part, um, I will take the second half of that and saying you missed the mark with the CPI video. I think that is very common. And that's one of the reasons why we started doing the CPI show, because as much as I know how much everybody tries, I do feel that there's somewhat a lot of developers run out of steam at the end when they've got their prototype ready and the video is almost an afterthought, where it should almost be the reverse. To the first part of that, where you're translating a good game idea into a CPI video, I think you need to think about what is the exciting parts of your game and make sure that those exciting parts are in your CPI video. Much like a movie trailer, you always see all the good bits and you kind of want to see the whole game in all the best bits within some of your CPI videos. So, George, what do you think about that question? How do you translate a good game idea into a CPI video?
Well, that's definitely what you just said. So picking the most exciting part of your game that really translates what's fun about it. And of course, there's several techniques that a lot of people use these days, like using failing a lot. So how do you fail your level? And that means that it needs to be clear. So it needs to be clear how you win and how you fail. So you need to show the player in the first 3 seconds that uh, you have to play this way and you can lose this way. So that's really one of the techniques, but there are several you can use. You can improve your CPI video compared to the actual build to be more appealing, which will better the CPI in some cases. But that's really it, showing the being clear, have a contrasty gameplay video also, and showing what's the best about your game.
Yeah, I think that's true as well. I mean, it's all true, right? So I think a lot of the time, if you got if you got your game idea that you're really fully behind, and you don't feel your video is displaying your game idea to its fullest potential, then there's a problem with the game you built. You need to like go a little bit back a little bit and thinking, okay, why is my CPI video not feeling like as good as what it did in my head, or potentially need to be really brutally honest with yourself and just take a pause, even come back to it the next day, which I always often like. Just have a fresh pair of eyes at it and be really honest about it, saying, if I saw this for the first time, what are my thoughts? Anyway, let's not get too off topic on that, but come back CPI video, not next week, but the week after. Oleg's back. And by all means, send us a video, Frantic Thumbs, and we can we can do a live preview of the video. Um, Banneker just says, just before we get going, out of topic, how long does a test last? I know it varies, but what's the average? Average is 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's that's the answer. But thanks for the questions. Keep them coming in. So, George, right, let's do it. I'm going to pause on the questions and we'll get some meaningful progress here. So, let's go back. So, we're going to take Supersonic's new game, Camo Sniper, as an example of an idea that we've seen. Looks pretty cool. What can we do with this? So, I'll hand that back over to you now.
Yeah, so for those who play this game, I don't know, maybe we should play a level or two just to for
Sure.
the ones who
Yeah.
haven't
Okay. Yeah,
seen it.
that's a great idea. Let's do that. So yeah, we are experimenting today, guys. So obviously it's very ad hoc. It's very. I'm just going to turn off my interwebs here, so we don't get mashed up with adverts. Okay. Uh, so yeah, it's going to take us a little time to finesse this progress, but obviously it's a really organic process. So we're just. Wait, what? I don't know what it is when pop-ups come up on my iPad when I'm streaming. I just can't process what they say. It's bizarre. All right, so offline reward. So yeah, I launched this real quick once, but this is level 1.
So
So
here we have, yeah, we have the basic sniper motion that you can drag around and look for whatever you want to shoot. And you can see the camouflage people that are trying to hide from you and blend with the environment, I guess. And really here, first level, you just have to shoot, and it's pretty straightforward once you get into it.
it's a really great UI, by the way. That is super crispy. Liking that a lot. But yeah, it's one of, for me, when I saw this, and as I was just saying to you, it's one of those games. It's like, oh, that's kind. Why didn't I think of that? It's kind of like a genius idea, right? Because it's matching that hidden object with the sniper game.
Exactly, and it makes you focus. That's a big point I think on this game. It does make you look like scavenger hunt, let's say from popcorn. That's another example where it makes you look in the level, makes the player focused, which is pretty interesting for long term retention.
Okay.
This is the progression part where with the monies that you collect from the levels, you upgrade your cabin, your tent, which I really don't understand how it does fit with the core.
Do you know what?
Because
This is really brutal, and I'm sorry, but I think they plugged this into another. This doesn't. This immediately feels off to me.
it's quite
Um,
different from the main core. That's why
yeah,
in the activation framework we have some questions to ask ourselves. For example, how does this relate to the core? What element of the gameplay can I introduce to my progression?
yeah,
And
exactly.
here,
And this, go on.
apparently, apparently it's working because it's a game. It's scaling, and it's interesting that this core. I mean, it's sniper. It's military. It has to do it in some ways with it, but there were other ways that probably could have been done also.
Yeah, I think for me, George, what I'd like to see here is I'd almost, like when you get a transition screen, I'd
Yeah,
kind of I want the devs to add a slight narrative there, even if it's just a picture saying, right, let's go and upgrade the base. And
yeah,
immediately it ties it in with doing nothing at all, but instead you're just dropped in here, and it's just like, this is super random to me. So I think these things can be easily fixed. It's a funny scale on this as well. So I'm not here
yeah.
to bash it at all, but I ran out of money. Um, Okay, so let's have another. Right. Oh my goodness! All right. Daily reward, nice.
Yeah, so there's
So
some progression features like you unlock new weapons that they don't really change how you shoot. I think they're mostly visual upgrades.
okay. I mean, I
Like,
love the GUI. Everything's looking nice. I don't want to go too far into a game review here, but this one is really a good. We can really see here. That's kind of clever, albeit slightly peculiar. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm going to be careful what I say here. I'm guessing that's head, right? Headshot. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you kind of get the idea. So we'll
yeah,
just play this level, and then we'll
The house.
we'll get into the um, into our, I don't know what you call it, our framework. I keep derping out on
Framework.
what to call it. All right, so just want to check the chat. What do you think about? Uh, okay, on topic. Let me flick back, George, and you can start talking through
Yeah.
um, what we're going to do
So
here. Then,
okay, here we are. So jumping onto our framework, uh, I divided it into what makes the game and what other examples are out there that might feel similar. So game one, I'll just put. Let me do it. I'll just put it camo sniper here. Oops, not here. Here. Other games, even from Supersonic, that I remember, for example, Giant Wanted also used the sniper, but it was more an active game where you defended the town from giants. You have a new recent, not recent, but on the top charts, top 80, I think. It's called Western Sniper from Azure.
okay. So what you're doing is you've put the name up in the top one there,
Yeah,
and you're from memory. These are the other sniper games that you know of that are similar, right?
yeah, and I would break down what they have in common, what they don't have in common, what makes them different, what's the toy in them, what's your playable asset, and what's the mechanics loop, what's the controls, and what the progression feels like.
Got you. So
And
this could be
even
like for me.
yeah,
Sorry to talk across you. I'll let you go then. For me, it would be like Johnny Sniper, and maybe or
absolutely,
something else. But that's the idea. So just because you know them, otherwise, if you didn't know, you do your research for a similar type of game. Is that what we're saying?
absolutely, yeah. That's
Okay.
really how I personally do it here, and it's been working really well so far because we're being able to throw ideas very quickly just by comparing things and trying to make them a bit different.
Got it.
Uh,
Just before we go on, and I'm going to shut up on the comments in a minute because I know how distracting this is. But I just want to answer Tom. The chirping birds were in the game. What do I think about when arcade idol when? What do you think about when the arcade idol trends will end? Alan, I don't think they're going to end anytime soon. I think they're here to stay for the long run. I think we'll see an evolution of them. Um, and Frantic Thumb says immediately, I feel like you could change the sniper gameplay. So rather than finding the target to shoot, you could maybe shoot an enemy to and save someone. So elements of peril and snipe the peril. Okay, opportunities for fail and win videos right there. Okay, so I'm now going to ban the chat for 1 second, and we're going to go through. So just to recap, let's start
yeah,
this. We found our game that we're going to look at, and George has put in another couple of sniper games that he already knows of, and I'll let
yeah.
you take it from here now, George, and I'm just going to shut up for a while.
Uh, Thanks. Just for the sake of time, I'll just focus on Camo Sniper because these games are all similar. You just have to shoot enemies and defend them. Just Sniper is a bit different. But let's try and deconstruct it real quickly. So, game theme here, I would say it's hidden. It's sniper slash camouflage. The toy will be definitely a sniper rifle or a weapon. I'll put sniper rifle because it's the main thing that appears. The game mechanic is the hidden, finding hidden person. Uh, Shoot by dragging the aim on top of the person by dragging and release. Yeah, that's important. And releasing top of the person, and then um, completing the requested um, number of targets. There really isn't much to it. It's just you look in the city or in the environment that you are, and you look for the hidden person. You drag and you release to shoot it, and then you complete the number of targets they request. It's really nothing
Can
more to it.
can I just clarify? What are you classing as toy?
Oh, a sniper rifle. It's basically being the playable asset. So
Okay,
the first thing you see, and it's what you use to utilize the action in the game. So
So
it's your action.
would a runner be like a stick man?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. If it's
Okay.
a basic runner where you just use the stickman to run around, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And for example, if it's a stickman with an axe, it will be stickman with an axe.
Got
That's
it.
it's something to be specific on. What's the actionable asset that you were using to play?
Okay. Perfect.
So here it's a sniper rifle. We can argue that it's more the scope, I'd say. So maybe yeah, that's more accurate scope of sniper rifle. And the game loop is actually the game mechanic almost. So find hidden persons, shoot all requested number of targets, collect money permission, and then you have on the progression upgrade your military military base, let's say.
And how far deep would you go into this, George? Because obviously you don't want to sort of write down, because there was inside the shop there was like 10 different sections, like all that. Are you just trying to get an overall feel of this, or the main essence of it?
So I'm trying to get an overall feel. I'm not going into meta or into shop monetization. I'm going to core gameplay and the light progression system that it might have.
Okay,
That's really that's really it. And then control systems, I would say it's a drag and release or hold and release, more a drag and release. Progression being using. So first progression actually is unlocking new weapons, which doesn't do anything different. I think it just changes the aim, if I'm not mistaken, the scope, and upgrading military base, which also I think doesn't reflect on the gameplay after. You don't feel stronger or anything else.
got ya.
Uh,
So there's like the lightweight version of exactly what that game is, and I think that's really cool because it's only 6 things you put down.
yeah,
So pretty interesting now. So obviously, for the sake of this one, you're just filling in camo sniper, but you do the same for giant wanted and
yeah,
western
exactly.
sniper as well.
And I would add another column with our idea. So
Okay.
after these, I'm just gonna put for the sake of visibility. I'm putting it right next to it. But
Okay.
here is where I would start to change things. So I would start to think, uh, what differently could I do this game? So instead of a sniper, what could I have? Or do I really still gonna use the sniper and change the other part of the gameplay? So this is where it
Okay.
goes. And also
Okay.
the focus on ideation. This is where we go after.
Right. So now we've got the benchmark of the game that we like. Are you going to start challenging what each one of these sections? Then
Yeah,
is that
well,
the
yeah,
idea?
that's the point. Yeah, and then here you have more in-depth questions and elements that you need to think of when you're doing this questioning of the existing game, and that's really much where we start creating new things.
Okay. So what? Is it down? I'm just trying to get a handle on things. And if you've got any questions in the chat there, just do let us know while we're going through this. I can see a couple of ones that I will get to in a minute, which are kind of off topic. But I'm just trying to work out now we've identified, like, sort of broken down this into its pure sort of core elements. What do we do now? Like, where do we start? Do we just say, right, okay, let's make a sniper, but I don't. Where do we start here?
So I so for me now we gotta start by the beginning, which is the theme. This is how we can most drastically change the look and feel of the game is by changing the theme and the genre. But for this example, I think we're gonna stick to the same. So once you change the theme, you can drastically change the look. When you go to the mechanics and loop, you change the overall feel of the game. That's where you really do a pivot and not a risk in how I see it there on the comment. a good
Yeah, so
point.
obviously we just wouldn't want to just do a reskin of the same type, but I think this is where I'm just trying to work out how do we identify the bit that people either like or the how do we how do we not do a reskin? That's a really
Yeah,
better way of putting it, I
that's
suppose.
a really good point. Yeah. So this, of course, requires a previous benchmark of the market. So we really need to look in the past on what themes were marketable and what has been done in those themes specifically. So we know the themes that work the best. Let's say it could be we could work with colors, we could work with food, we could work uh, with numbers, we could work with all of the themes that worked in the past. So we start by there. We start by identifying the themes that were very successful in the past. We see how do they apply to this current structure that we have, and we start by there. So it's really the I think the first starting point. It's identifying a marketable theme that people can identify with, and it's proven before that it worked on other genres or in another kind of game.
Okay, so if it's a theme that has worked before, how do I know that's not an old? Could I do like a Squid Game then? Would that
Sorry.
work? If I did Squid Game Sniper, would that work now?
No, I don't think so because it's that was a seasonal theme
All right, that was a
when
terrible example. I was kind of trying to trip you up without trying to trip you up, but you get my point. It's like, how do we know what themes work? Is it worth going to the charts now and looking at stuff,
it does. Yeah,
or
it's pretty. That's a good rationale behind it. But I think we need to also stick with the evergreen themes that always work in the last 3 4 years.
okay,
I think I still see food themes being done. I still see numbers. I still see color matching, color sorting. There's a lot of things that has been done in the last 5 years is still being done and on the top charts.
okay? So I'm just going to go and pull up the App Store here, and we'll take a look through that. I'm just trying to work out. So we kind of need to do all of them at once, but I'm just still really trying to get an idea of where I start here because I'm kind of confused. I kind of know what I just don't feel we've articulated enough of how
Yeah,
where to begin. Forgive me if someone in the chat can let us know if you know where to start or what we should do. That would be great. I'm just going to get to this new question. What are core things we should take and pull from the reference game? I see people copying full games, even screenshots of reference games in studios. Wow, that was difficult to read. Waleed, obviously, we don't want to copy and clone. That's stupid, and it very rarely works. And if it does work, it works for like 2 days. So we don't want to
yeah.
do that. That's not smart at all. Um, what? Yeah, that's the kind of question I'm asking. What's the core thing we should take from the reference game? That's a great question.
I think we should take what is making it unique, and I think also what's making it work. In this case, for me, it's the camouflage, and which in reality, camouflage is basically a color matching. You're matching your own body color with another color from the world. It's color matching in if you really reduce it to the basics.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
that's what I think we should do. So when we're here, we've got basically a really fancy hidden objects game, which we know hidden objects is not typically a hyper audience, but certainly a staple of the App Store. No doubt we would probably find a couple in the top 200. I don't know without looking, but I literally just got an advert there, I think. Um, I think, are we focusing in on the hidden object, or you're saying focusing more on the color thing?
Because I think it's what's new about the game. Because the sniper has already been done, and that's a proven also mechanic that's worked in the past. So that I think we can keep, but change it to a different toy or a different way of interacting. So
Okay, so
look,
when we're looking at this, then we've got three kind of things. We've got Well, it's kind of two, but kind of, yeah. So we got the sniper and the hidden object, where normally you just got to see the picture and you find the. Oh my goodness! All right, hold on. That is brutal. I don't know how quick that was, but that was fast. Um, so we got the hidden objects and sniper. Is it the place where we look to keep one of those things or change one of those things? So could we
We,
do a hidden object but use a bow and arrow? Would that work?
that for me will be a risking. If you just change the bullet for an arrow, that would be completely risking.
Okay.
For me, I would do it. I would do it even not non. How do you say it? Non attacking or offensive. So I wouldn't use a shooting game per se, like to hit somebody or kill somebody. I'll try to do it in a more passive way. So, for example, we could do a photo like
Okay.
let's say like in Pokemon Snap, where
Okay.
you just go around and shoot pictures. So, for example,
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
you know what I mean, that's one way we can transform something that was shooting to a more passive and more relaxed experience. For example, I'm thinking now like maybe a surveillance game. So, for example, you have people going around in the city, and you're like a private eye, or you're a surveillance
Nice.
agent. And I think I've seen some games in the past on the charts where you use kind of these gadgets to spy on people. I think Quali had a game which was a game about identifying the licenses of cars. Sort of
Oh
that.
yeah, I know. Oh yeah, I know. I remember that one. Yeah, I know what you mean. So
Sort
yeah,
of that
you could
surveillance.
do it a bit like that. Sorry to talk over you. I'll carry on. Sorry.
War. And there's another game that they pushed on the charts, a game where you identify people and you identify the culprit. I don't know the game exactly, but it's on the top chart, and it's about also identifying something. And this is also an example of looking on what's working, on what's trending. I think this identifying and discovering something that's hidden could be a potential place to start, because it's some mechanic that worked in the past. It's already in the top charts. Again, I don't remember the name of the game. It's something they are in an elevator, and then you point your finger at it. I need to give back that game before,
Yeah,
but
so
yeah.
many games. Don't worry, we forgive you. It's okay. Yeah, so I was thinking like you could almost say we take the same concept, but we completely transform it so it feels massively different. So you could, like you said, surveillance thing, or it could be a security guard, and you can take photos of the robber, and they get taken away by the police or something. So it feels very different,
Yeah,
but it's
but
actually
it's
quite
still, yeah,
familiar.
it's still sharing some aspects that made this game quite successful.
Got it. All right.
Why don't I suggest now that we could maybe start, maybe from there, take that idea, and then we can do one from the chat, maybe.
Okay. So should we? I'm going to push it back onto here, so maybe we can start writing something in here. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is it's such a weird brainstorming way of doing this on a live stream as well. So bear with me while I press all the buttons because there is an
I,
awful lot
I
of
mean,
buttons to
I mean,
press.
I have an opinion that the brainstorm works much better in group.
Of course, yeah, for sure. It's just I'm pressing all the buttons and trying to keep
So
hold of this as well. So
yeah,
let's go to Walid said before. Sorry, Walid, I didn't mean to miss it. Do we publish hyper casual games? Sure, we'll test your hyper casual games. Not a problem at all. What if the publisher has already tested things? Would you like to? What if the publisher had already tested the things you would like to change and they didn't perform well? You could waste your time implementing things that were already tested. What if the publisher had already tested the things you want to change and they didn't perform well? I'm not sure, Vitalana, I'm not sure if that's a hypothetical question or you're just unlucky that you managed to build something that they've already tested. I'm not sure If you want to rephrase that, I can definitely try and do better for you there. Do you think the space theme is trending right now, George?
I've seen some. I've seen a couple of games that are more on the hybrid side that are being pushed, but I wouldn't say that it's a marketable theme per se.
No,
Actually,
honestly, I'm gonna
that's
just stick my
hard to
neck. I'm gonna stick my neck right out there and say space is super hard. You
yeah,
never normally see many space games out there unless they're like Star Trek or and all that, right?
yeah,
I can't remember one, quite frankly. But you know, there's always ones that I suppose Among Us is kind of spacey, but
yeah.
um,
A game recently about constructing a spaceship and boosting it into space, but it didn't had a long life, I think, on the
oh yeah, it was
charts.
like that ketchup game. It was the rocket that was
You
they
had that one,
claimed
and
it.
you had a recent one from Rolik also, I think, that didn't really live long. I think it reached top 30 and then dropped.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
went.
problem. Yeah, that's the problem with it. I mean, it's not very marketable, and even if it's like emerging or an idle mechanic, it's still I think not enough to push it if it's not marketable.
Yeah, that was that. It was to build the rocket thing, wasn't it? Then Ketchup had a very similar game to that in
Yeah.
2D. I just want to clear down this. Good question. Someone said to Chris, keep the theme but change the toys. So when I'm ideating, I get some of the latest trending games and do just that. I keep the theme and the mechanic and change the toys. Okay, well that's kind of what George said. To be fair, isn't it? With the camera, replace the sniper with a camera. I think that's pretty good, Chris.
And I'd
Uh,
say, and I would say add a little bit more to it. So don't just keep the mechanic and the theme. Add a add a new mechanic or change an older mechanic and replace it with a more fresher one that could add more value, being in the progression or in the core.
okay, right, George.
Yeah.
I know we've got the framework here. I know you've got something underneath, but I'm thinking maybe we should just have this sniper game on our screen and just start let everybody shout and let's do some proper brainstorming with the thing in front of me because I think it's a really important process that you do this. And I think it's really good to have the reference in front of you to keep reminding you, like, okay, so it is a scope of a sniper rifle, the controls are drag and release. But I think once you've got it in your head what that is, I think looking at it and just watching, for me, I prefer to watch the game, I'll be honest with you. So I think we should just flick over to that real quick and I can get hold of the chat
Yeah,
and
let's
we
do that.
can invite
Yeah.
everyone to start shouting some ideas
I
around.
I actually recommend if you try some of these frameworks that you create a mood board with GIFs and images of all of those examples that you find that are similar to your game or similar to the game you're working on. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree. We were big fans of mood boards here. I was just going to try and pull something up real quick. And I'm going to YOLO it and just see if it's going to work. Because I want to remind everyone real quick before we go full onto this. Let's see if I can pull it up. So don't forget, inside the academy, we have a load of finding ideas in here. So you can go in here if you're part of the academy. You can see we got tons of ideas in here, and you just only because you reminded me, mood boards, right? That's one thing that I'm really like, and Pinterest as well, right? So inside the academy, if you haven't already, you can join in. Just go and join Homer Lab. But yeah, I show you here some of the mood boards we've created in the past. You can see how old these ones are, really. But I show you how to do one for Pixelmator for free and all the rest of it. So there's all that stuff inside the academy. So don't forget that. Some real different ways to ideate in there. But let's jump into this game. I'm going to press that and then I'm going to head back to the chat and make sure just before we get any further, I don't miss anybody's questions. If we're going to create a hybrid casual game, when is the time we should contact a publisher? I mean, at what stage of development? What do you think, George?
I mean, at the very beginning, we you could get in touch with us, for example, and we definitely steer you in the right direction in ideation, prototyping. So at the early stage, I'd say.
Yeah, I kind of agree and disagree. I think you need to kind of build something and prove that you've got a framework within it, but you don't need to build it fully out. I think you need the kind of framework in place to kind of at least run a marketability test. Unless these are the sort of things like if you're a studio that's working with Homo and you build that relationship, then of course, then you get a weekly with your publishing manager to go through ideas and bounce them before you start. But I think if it depends on the relationship to the publisher
Yeah,
is what I'd say for that.
that's what I meant
Yeah, of course you
when
did,
I
George. I wasn't trying to. I wasn't trying to correct you or anything. I just answered it the way I did. I think mixing games with similar mechanic is the best way to ideate. What's your thoughts about mixing games? We used to call that game fusion, but what's your thoughts on that?
I absolutely think it's a good ideation methodology. I call it merge and improve.
Yeah,
Game is also a good name for it.
yeah.
It's definitely it's one of the methodologies most used in the last 3 years. So I think it's still valid.
Of course, yeah. We used to call it model and improve as well, which is an old, taken from an old business term where you take
Yeah,
what's working, model and improve it,
and I
which
think
is
this
also,
is one case of that. So this is model and improve of Giant Wanted with a different theme and a more relaxed action. I think also I'd say.
yeah. I think I was trying to think when you kept referencing Giant Wanted, and I was trying to think of the game, but that's the giants where they walk towards you, right? I
Yeah,
remember that game now.
a rifle on top of a building, and you're looking for the giants and defending the population. And
That's
you have
right. Yeah.
a scope just like this, and then you just defend the city. I think here they take that core concept of the scope and sniper that have been done in other games, to be fair, and just twist it around in a more relaxing environment, adding a colored thematic like camouflage, which is pretty marketable, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this one really comes into its own because of the hidden object and the camouflage,
Yeah.
like I say. I think it's added a hidden object to a sniper game and not the other way around for me, which I think is kind of genius. I'm just wondering if there's anything else you could. Is there another type of puzzle thing that you could add a sniper to? Like, is there another type of thing?
That's
I don't
what
know.
ask the chat.
Yeah, so like, yeah, let's open it up now. So let's
Yeah.
start. Let's start. Tell us. So this is a game you're watching me play. What can we do with this game? This bonus game, by the way, low key is pretty nice. I like the fact that they've mixed up the gameplay. Um, did I not shoot then or what? So we want your suggestions now. Take this as your time to get involved. What can we do
Yeah.
to this sniper game?
I would say also that trying to focus in something that is it's similar to a scope or something that makes you something that helps you look to objects at distance. Other things that I mentioned, I think before a photographic camera, but it could be anything else. Uh, Things that make sense in this environment. Also, I'm
Cool.
really up to see what you come up with.
Yeah, let's go here. Right, so I just want to make sure we don't get run out. So, Chris is thinking that mixing similar mechanics, yeah, game fusion or modeling improved, perfect. Voodoo did this with Snake versus Block, yeah, they certainly did. Some studios are developing realistic, conventional games in some sort of casual way, meaning keeping it realistic, but UX and game is a bit casual. What do we think of that? Well, I think you should go and watch George's game art trend matrix that we did a few weeks ago, and we covered that in depth of the trend of realistic. So go onto the channel and do a search for game. Just go and search on the channel. You'll see it on the homepage of our YouTube channel or inside the academy. Of course, that's what we think of that one. Um, KPR targets for hybrid. Kind of going off track here. So, any of these questions not to do with ideation, head over to the Discord and we can answer them there. It's a lot easier so we don't derail ourselves. Do you think graphics should be simple, low poly, or detailed? Again, covered that in our art style matrix. Here we go. So you can make a Tetris sniper game. George, can I leave you to read out some of these comments while I have a
Yeah, of
play?
course. So, Fronting Thumbs game is suggesting that we should make a Tetris sniper game where you rather than shooting people, we should block shapes. Then we do base building, and you replace that with the Tetris blocks and see how many lines. I think that the concept of shooting the blocks could be pretty interesting. So
It'd have
I'm
to be
imagining,
quite chill though, wouldn't it? Because
yeah, but I'm imagining actually if you had a landscape like that, like what you see now, but it's not blocks, but it's not buildings, but blocks, and you have the Tetris shapes drop in, and you shoot a block of it to make it fit.
ooh,
That could be a great idea, actually.
yeah, that's pretty good.
That's
Nice.
pretty good, and it gets away completely from the theme of hidden object and shooting, and it's more like an active puzzle game, actually.
Puzzle, yeah, exactly. So you take it away from the. Yeah, that's great as well because that's when is a reskin not a reskin? When you do something like that, you've taken
And
the
that's
essence of this though. Yeah, I
and
like
there's
that.
a question here on Notion that my train of thought came from there. So I was asking myself this. So can you jump really quickly on Notion?
Of course, yeah, sure. Well, I say yeah, of course. So I'm going to try. Right, hold on. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's try it.
So if you go down to the questions, I was I was asking myself, what are the world elements with my toy? So it said a Tetris sniper game. I was keeping the toy as a scope or a sniper. And then the world elements, I was asking myself, what does make sense in Tetris? So I would say block city, blocks dropping, the player action effect. I was asking myself, how could I interact with this world and still make it feel like a Tetris gameplay? I'd say so. Shooting the falling blocks to make them fit. That's where it came from, really. And then on the progression, that's where I'm a bit more confused of what to do. Is saying here base building. You replace that with Tetris blocks and see how many lines. I think we need to do a bit more thinking on that because why would the people come back just to see how many lines we have? It's I think it falls a bit flat in engagement, but I think we could work on that.
So I like this page, George. I haven't seen this one before. So is this sort of where we've got focus on ideation? Should this be more like good questions to ask? Would that be? And by the way, before we go any further, I will post all of this underneath the replay next week when this goes inside the academy. So we always add extras and do a roundup inside the academy, so you'll get more inside than on YouTube, of course. We'll give you a copy of this page so you can either print it off and use it if you want. But is
Yeah,
this like so? Are you asking yourself questions here to challenge yourself to think outside the box, for want of a horrible phrase? Is that what we're doing here?
pretty much. So this is more focus on how to create um, content and action for the game. So the world elements they're going to be displayed in the game. The player action it's what you'll be doing in the game. So you're still thinking of the game core itself, but not so much in the connection between all of the points. But you're going more individually on how to like build the body of the game itself. So toy world elements, player actions, and then progression. How does my core game affect my progression? How can I use game elements for that? That's where I think the block game made sense.
Which
But
is why you were challenging the way of shooting the blocks, right?
yeah, and then I can read some more ideas. So you have here evening mode with night vision goggles. I would say that that would be more of an add-on or a more of a feature of the current game to make it a bit more challenging. Not so much a complete pivot.
Yeah, that would
Uh,
almost be like a game mode or a bonus thing, I think, wouldn't
yeah,
it?
feature. Yeah.
Good idea, though.
Same with the wobble to make it more challenging. It's a good idea, but I think it's for a feature of the game to make it more challenging again. Not so much an original pivot of the game. Um, have a crosshair appear in your gun vision when you're near a target. Yeah, the night mode idea. Yeah. Shooting black holes that suck walking people. That could be another one. Yeah, but then it's still kind of the same, not theme, but
Yeah,
sniper and shoot.
you're just making new levels at this point, right?
Yeah, it seems like a new game mode that could be added to this game, which could be really fun. And that attack hole and hole and fill are pretty popular. So I get where you get that idea from. But for this specific game, still shooting at people, still feels really similar. I'd say.
That was a really good level, by the way. I enjoyed that level. That was very clever the way they built that one. I like the fact that
Yeah.
they were the traffic. That felt the most. That felt good. That level.
Yeah.
Um, Tom says, "What about some paparazzi with moving targets? They could be still hidden behind other obstacles or characters." Okay.
Which one? I didn't see that.
Okay. So perhaps I jumped down too far. So where did we get up to? We got to vision night vision goggles. Then you could add wobble to the aim and upgrade it, which I think is what you were saying about. It's a little bit more of a tweak on this one.
Yeah.
Mr. Cortex says, in response to Alan's question, we are developing an arcade idol with a futuristic technological and cartoony objects, but the main them like My Little Universe, space and water. Do you think it's okay? Wow. So that's a very difficult one to answer. Um, there's actually there's a really close clone that's being pushed pretty hard on social at the moment of My Little Universe. Um, that's I think you should post that up on the Discord. Those ones, Mr. Cortex. So we've got a little bit more time to digest all that and maybe a video or a screenshot. Um, Tom says the paparazzi one with moving targets. They could still be hidden behind the obstacles or characters. I'm not sure how that would work, Tom. Paparazzi's are kind of nice with the camera though.
You mean you will be the paparazzi and you'll be actually shooting?
Ah, right. So you got to try and shoot the stars as they're walking past or something, or get them on the red carpet. That's kind of a cool one, actually, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
that would
that's
lean into like the fashion, and you could spin that like shot to fame or something like that, right? And
yeah.
then you
It's
could
a
create
similar
a
idea.
scrapbook, or you could hit the front page of the newspaper if you do a good shot or something like a star system. That would work.
You can vary the themes a little bit by even just by shifting the sniper to a photo camera. You could do a paparazzi, you could do a detective, and then all the photos that you take at the end, they can form, that the progression could be like those Polaroids that you stick the pins and then you build a puzzle out of the
Yeah,
suspects.
I think
You
you're
could do,
really go on. Sorry, I
it's-
cut across you right at the end there. I was just thinking it really leaning into the hidden object thing, because I was thinking you could do,
yeah,
you could like spot the animals or find the zebra or something like that, right? You could take the camera. I think it's a really sound idea, George, and that's why I think it's. But the really good ideas typically come when you go, oh, you could do that, you could do that, you could do that, and you just change the from the sniper to the camera, and I think that's really solid.
one key point is also to exhaust the what ifs in the brainstorm.
Yeah.
You really exhaust yourself. You go to the bottom of the page of the what if, and then you replicate your the changes that you can make to the existing game. And this is a good example also.
Yeah, that's
I
a
was also
really good point. That's a really good point. Sorry.
as like just a final thought for coming up with ideas. Also thinking of from a popular game I think from Supersonic was Match Color 3D, right? That's from
Yeah,
Super. It's a big game. We could also think that take that example and use like a paintball weapon where you select the primary colors and then you have gray parts in the city and you have to match it to make the city seem real.
that's
So
cool. Yeah, I know exactly what it's almost. That's almost jigsawy. Where so
yeah, it's more like
match
a
color
puzzle.
3D. Yeah, of course, was Supersonic, built by Nabir. who did Bridge Race, right? So you're saying in here, and it's really annoying that I can't draw on the screen, but potentially like this here could. It had to be a grey level, didn't it? But you're
So
saying like
you
maybe.
would
Go
have
on.
the city colored. You have little spots that you need to color to match the rest of the city, and then you have to shoot. For example, you could shoot like blue and yellow to make green to match it. So you use the same concept of as color match,
Ah, I know what you mean. Got it.
put it with this sniper mechanic, which I think could be cool also.
Yeah, I was thinking like the parts of the city would be like almost like a color paint by numbers type thing. But what you're saying is that you've got so say for this oh my god, I don't know what they're called, like the digger, the yellow digger down here on the left. That could
The
be
no,
that would be a different color, and you'd have to shoot the right color to make it orange or something.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. For example,
Got ya.
the
Nice.
the color by numbers. That's also a good one. That could be also an example. Instead of a 2D flat surface, you have a 3D surface in 3D that you need to shoot and color.
So
Uh,
we still got the color, we still got the shooting. So the main core toy is the same, really. It's the same controls and mechanic, but a different take on it.
yeah, it's a
Um,
different feel because it's not so much hidden object. It's more color matching.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it changes the feel completely by like that detail. And
wicked.
it's not an offensive gun. I'd say it's a paintball. It doesn't
Yeah,
kill anyone.
it's a non-aggressive gun. If there is such a thing, that's a weird statement. Uh, what do we think in the chat? Are you still with us? This is cool. We're getting somewhere, right? So, what's great about this, and I think one thing I really want everyone to take away today is like just keep at it and exhaust the possibilities. And somehow, there's some like three or four decent ideas. I love Tom's one about the paparazzi because I think that works across a wide demographic. It's really unoffensive and non-violent, which is always great. And you can have I can see how the levels can go. Shoot the star, not shoot as in gun, but take a picture of the star. You can build the whole thing around that one. I love George's idea of the color matching one because we know that works really well. I want some more ideas. These are legit ideas, actually, George. If honestly,
And if you feel
um,
exhausted in the ideas, you could use ChatGPT to bring even more. You just ask
yeah,
it what would be a good twist, and if it gives you something that it might be interesting, you might mix it with your idea or do a brand new one. It's the possibilities are like more than ever accessible to anyone. I think if
yeah,
you
that's
come with
that's a good idea. So once you've got that idea, bung it into Chat GDP, bleh,
GPT.
GPT, and see what comes up there. Maybe that gives you another curveball in something. But I really like these two ideas, especially as
We
we
can
know
check
this
our
one right
previous
now
video that we did
is
on it
kind of
also.
hot. Ah, Splatoon, says Colette. Exactly like
Yeah,
Splatoon. That's super fun, that game, isn't it?
super
Um,
fun game, and
there is
it's
a mobile version that was released by Rollick not so long ago that was really close to that. Didn't
it's
seem to
called,
do anything, though.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
These
it was
levels are really good. I'm going to miss it.
battle game. I think it's more of a battle game. If you take that concept of Splatoon, you put it into a puzzle game, could be
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I can't say with any clarity because I remember seeing it, but I was going to have a look at it on the stream, but it's landscape, which is super weird. But this level is really cool. I like this level. So what are we thinking in the chat? Do give us a thumbs up if you want us to come back. We're going to refine this. I think this is a more healthy way of doing it. We'll leave the framework on the academy, and we'll come back to it now and then as we reference it. But I think you're getting the points here. And one of the main takeaways is there's so many different ways of doing it. There's no one size fits all ever. We've gone from sort of brainstorming some ideas here, and George has come straight in. Well, now run it through the AI, right? So I think
Yeah.
there's all sorts of ways that we can do it. Like there's no right or wrong, which is why I think it's really cool that you give us your feedback here. I really like these later levels. They're so much more interesting than those first ones. They're very clever. Um, so we've got a few ideas on our sniper game. let's have give us a thumbs up on the video for this one. If you're on the replay, leave us a comment underneath and type in ideation in the chat if you want to see us come back next month. And then we'll start to wrap things up here. Zoomer in 3D at an angle from above. Oh, there is a zoomer doing really well right now. I can't remember which one it was. We
Zoom is the one
released.
Zoom is the one where you match the colors and they keep going in the line, right?
Yeah, it's the spiral. We
The
released
spiral.
our studio released. These are like whack a mole. Oh my goodness. We released two or three different Zoomer games on our game studio. They did really well for us. So yeah, that's a kind of a cool one. There's some. You got to be really careful with Zoomer though. You can't use the word Zoomer. We got a cease and desist at some point because it's trademarked. So just as a heads up, if you're doing that. Tom says, I like this type of stream. It's much more interactive and really great, especially for solo devs to have some exchange. Awesome, Tom. Well, I appreciate the feedback. I know George will as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what we want to do here. We're just trying to find our way on the format that works best for everybody. And I
if you're a
think for me, I like playing it. So, George, go on, sorry.
if you're a solo developer, I encourage you to brainstorm with other people besides your own and the AI if you're doing that. So change with your family and friends. They know what they like because they're the audience. Like your mother, your brother, they're the audience in some way.
Yeah.
They know what they like, and you can get feedback from that. But it's very valuable to have feedback from exterior and ask their opinions, and then you can veto them out or keep them in as you see fit.
Yeah, good. And of course, yeah, that's great advice. And of course, you can come on the Discord. And sorry, I stopped there because I was just saying, Claire, here's your night vision here. Look.
Oh,
This is
it is.
it's literally night vision. So you called it, Colette. I think you saw the game before, but that's exactly what they've done here. There.
That was the game designer vision.
There we go. Nice. All right, we're going to start to wrap it up. Frantic Thumbs was thinking like an epic run. Wow, just on time. My battery's going. Just like an epic fun race game, but you as a sniper shoot the obstacles to slow your opponents down. I think that's a really good idea. Now, there was a time, and I think you've been around a while, Frantic Thumbs, that there was Fun Race 3D and then Run Fun Race, or there was like two or three of them, but they absolutely crushed and dominated the App Store. But that's a
That's true.
really nice idea.
But
And you
I'll take
could.
time to see if it's very close to the Squid Game. Also, you're talking about
No, right,
because
let me pull it up. So it's like the original
you mean
OG of the App Store.
Good Job Games,
Say again?
uh, the Good Job Games Funrace 3D game. That's what you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
There was another one as though, wasn't there? There was Run, Race, and Fun. I always get them muddled.
There was Epic Race, Fun Race, and I think Run Race. Not sure.
So this was the late. This was the original one here. Good job, games. You're absolutely right, George.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think this one here. I wonder if you could even have it more puzzly. So take this one here where you've got this. I don't know what you call this. This obstacle here. But maybe if they were different colours, you had to shoot it and let the right colour go through. So you got kind of a colour angle on this as well. Um,
that's a
that
good
could be
point.
kind
Yeah,
of fun.
I see
Fun
that.
Maze 3D, yeah, exactly. Oh, that doesn't look. That looks new. That bit to me. Oh, this doesn't look like the original one. I think they've done some work here.
I probably live ops working on it.
Wacky one from Voodoo. Yeah, it's similar to that. There was. I want to find the other one real quick.
Epic Race 3D or Run Race 3D. I think Run
No,
Race. Here we go. The
these are
first one.
legit. This was the later one, wasn't it?
That no,
This was the
that's this
multiplayer version, no?
the original one. I think
No, this
it
was
was.
the new. I reckon this was the newer one because it's a mul. Oh, I don't know now.
It's 2.5D. I think this was the first version. Then you had
Was
Fun
it?
Race 3D, and then you had Epic Race 3D, and they were all sort of an evolution of the same concept, but they changed it a little bit.
Wow, 3 years old, and that's one point.
Memory doesn't fail me. Yeah, I think so.
No, I bow to your knowledge here. I can't remember. It's been so many games, right? That was 3 years, 1 point. Oh, I totally pressed the wrong button. I don't know why I'm going on this tangent here. Anyway, but yeah, that's a good idea, Frantic. So it's that kind of thing. It's like try and flip it on its head a little bit. That's kind of cool. Wacky race. Let's just find that one real quick, and then we will wrap it up because I have kept George way too long at this point. Um,
No. I do with a without the H.
that's because I'm a potato and I can't spell, obviously. Right, let's try that again.
Yeah, that's
Wacky.
the
Oh,
third
this
one.
one where they bend backwards like Sausage Run. This was a claim to the sausage game from Crazy Labs, right? Pretty much.
That was a good mashup. That was a good model and improve.
Yeah. You forget all these games, right? It's so funny. Um, all right,
And
I'm going to start
this
wrapping it up. Just want to make sure
so
we haven't missed anything.
it's the same concept
Um,
of taking a mechanic that worked and a game that worked and merging with an excellent game that also worked a lot and modernizing it a little bit.
did I get the right one here, Chris? Just to make sure.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm
I
trying
think
to
it.
catch you up in the chat there. But yeah, this was a good mashup. You're right, because the original one was the Crazy Labs one, which was
Yeah,
2D, I think,
the run sausage. Yeah.
which has gone on to the Switch, I believe, now.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
This is cool. What's this? All right. So,
It's,
um,
Ayo.
I don't know this game, but this looks kind of fun. Look at that. So it's like sausage wacky race all in, but on IO version. People are mental, aren't they? All right. So, um, did I miss that idea? But there we go. We're going to go and wrap it up. We're going to start wrapping that up today. So, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining with us. I know it's kind of a little bit random, but I think we'll refine it as we go on here. Dedicated ideation, not too caught up in other questions that come in. I'm going to be quite strict on this because it's easy to get um, off track, and we want to keep these tight on the ideation stuff and do some brainstorming together. I think that's the most powerful stuff. We will come on and do it live, and we'll just jam together. I think that's kind of good fun. If you've got any questions about anything else, of course, head on over to the Discord. Ask away there. That's exactly what it's for, and we can go off topic, and you can ask questions about anything you want to know about publishing, all of that good stuff. Head on over there because that is the place to do it. Go and make sure you hit the like button to vote if you want to see more of these. That's the way you shows your support. And with all that said and done, George, thank you so much for joining with me, sir. I enjoyed that. It's a ton of fun for me. I'm sure everybody is going to say the same as well. Any final words from you? Um,
Well,
what's
thanks for
the
having me.
what's the most important? Just before you say that, what's the most important thing to remember when working on the what's your like golden nugget of ideation advice, I guess?
So I would say really keep a ongoing study of the market. Don't let it slip that part of the research because it's really important, and stick with the things that work and modernize them. I think that's a key point to take from this. And you can also, of course, innovate from scratch, and that's why studios are amazing and developers are amazing, and they come up with the best ideas. But if you're starting up, not only starting up, and or if you're struggling with ideation, try and follow these frameworks and ask these questions that are so important to develop the content of your game to yourself. And I'd say that's really the key things to take from this ideation.
Nice. Well, I want to say one final thing, and I want to give two prizes away today, and you will win absolutely nothing, both of you. But I want to give a prize to Tom for coming up with a paparazzi idea because I think that's really solid. I kind of really like that idea. It kind of works in my head immediately. And the second person to win absolutely nothing today is George because I think changing from that sniper to the camera whilst it is seems like a minor thing, that spread a whole ton of ideas throughout the whole thing today, and I think it's really powerful that one small little change to get you thinking differently of changing the toy or the sort of just the sort of main I want to say main character of the game
Yeah.
how many ideas spawn from that, and I honestly believe there's two legit games there. There's a paparazzi one and the color matching one that oh my god, that George came up with. So Tom and George, well done, guys. It's going to go and wrap us up today. We will be back in a few weeks' time. I'll be back with you next week, and there we go. So have a great weekend. Thanks everybody for joining with us. Have a
Right.
good one, and we will see you next time around. Cheers a lot, everyone. See you later.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.